Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Om Tatsaviturvareniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Om Tatsaviturvareniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Om Tatsaviturvareniyam Bhargo.
Good evening, namaste. Welcome, dear friends, to today's class on Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Wishing everybody a very happy Baisakhi. And it's harvest time for North Indians especially. And let us think what harvest we want to have from this life. So we've sown some seeds in our life, and we continuously water them, we take care of them. And with the help of the master gardener, who is the guru and God, we want to have flowers and fruit on this tree of life. So the true harvest is that of the fruit of self-realization. So all that we do on a daily basis, the gardening in our garden of life that we do should be organized in such a way that by the end of this life, we are actually able to reap that harvest of self-realization, of God realization, of knowing that God and we are one. With that thought, let us invoke the presence of the divine for our class. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, Bhagwan Krishna, Jesus Christ, Mahavatar Babaji, Lahiri Mahashay, Swami Shri Yukteswar Ji, beloved Gurudev Paramhansa Yogananda Ji, friend and guide Swami Kriyananda Ji, saints and sages of all religions, great sages Ved Vyas, Maharshi Patanjali, Adi Shankaracharya, humbly we bow and touch thy feet. Dear Lord, I offer my body, my mind, and all the abilities that thou hast given to me to be used by thee in whatever way thou choose to express thyself through me. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let us invoke the Guru's presence by singing the hymn to Brahma. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Brahmanandam let us acknowledge the presence of the divine in our bodies, in our minds, singing this chant. What is this life flowing through my veins? Can it be other than divine? In thy light, in thy love, in thy joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Om. And then we shall say, what is this consciousness flowing through our brain? What is this energy flowing through my form? What is this power flowing through my will? What is this life flowing through my veins? Can it be other than divine? What is this life flowing through my veins? Can it be other than divine? In thy light, in thy love, in thy joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Om. In thy light, in thy love, in thy joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Om. What is this consciousness flowing through my brain? Can it be other than divine? What is this consciousness flowing through my brain? Can it be other than divine? In thy light, in thy love, in thy joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Om. In thy light, in thy love, in thy joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Om. What is this energy flowing through my form? Can it be other than divine? What is this energy flowing through my form? Can it be other than divine? In thy light, in thy love, in thy joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Om. In thy light, in thy love, in thy joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Om. What is this power flowing through my will? Can it be other than divine? What is this power flowing through my will? Can it be other than divine? In thy light, in thy love, in thy joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Om. In thy light, in thy love, in thy joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Om. In thy light, in thy love, in thy joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Om. In thy light, in thy love, in thy joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Om. Take a moment to scan your own body and ask yourself, is there any other power than God that is running the bodily machinery that you now possess? Is there any other power that can plant thoughts in your mind? Is there any other power which can allow you to love, to feel, to perceive, to do, to act, to be? There is but one God who animates all beings, the one light that pervades the entire universe. the one sound of Om. We are that. Let us be grateful today to God and the Gurus for showing us the path to our own inner freedom. Following are the thoughts by Swami Kriyananda on gratitude. Gratitude is a way of returning energy for energy received. Only a thief takes without paying for what he gets. And one who accepts a kindness without returning gratitude, as though the kindness were his by right, demeans both the giver and himself. He demeans the giver because by ingratitude, he implies that the kindness was inspired by selfish motives. And he demeans himself because by giving nothing in return, he breaks the cycle of creativity, without which prosperity's flow, both materially and spiritually, is blocked. Accept nothing inwardly for yourself, but offer everything to God. Don't let yourself be bought by others' kindnesses. Be grateful to them above all in your soul by blessing or praying for them. Give gratitude first of all to God, for whom all alone all blessings truly come. Let us do the following affirmation, first loudly and then softly. I give thanks to the giver behind each gift, and to the one giver behind all that I receive. My gratitude rises with devotion's incense to the throne of omnipresence. I give thanks to the giver behind each gift, and to the one giver behind all that I receive. My gratitude rises with devotion's incense to the throne of omnipresence. I give thanks to the giver behind each gift, and to the one giver behind all that I receive. My gratitude rises with devotion's incense to the throne of omnipresence. Mentally follow this prayer. I thank thee, Lord, for all thy blessings, but most of all, I thank thee for thy love. Om, peace, Amen. For our story today, friends, we have a story which was narrated by Paramahansa Yogananda to his disciples. And it is the story of the lion who became a sheep. And this story directly applies to all of us. So in Yoganandaji's words, this is how it goes. Once there was a huge lioness, pregnant and half-starved. As the days passed and the baby lion grew heavier within her, she had a hard time moving around in quest of prey. Even when the lioness successfully stalked some creature, she wasn't quick enough to pounce and so failed every time to capture her prey. Roaring with sadness, heavy with the baby lion, and pining with hunger, the lioness roamed through the forest and finally fell asleep in the shade of a grove of trees bordering a pasture. As she was dozing, she dreamed that she saw a flock of sheep grazing. Trying to pounce upon one of the dream sheep, she jerked and woke up to behold in reality a large flock of sheep grazing nearby. Overwhelmed with joy, forgetful of the baby lion she was carrying inside her, and impelled by the madness of unappeased hunger, the lioness pounced upon a young lamb and disappeared into the depths of the jungle. The lioness did not even realize that, owing to the severe exertion of her mad leap for the lamb, she had given birth to her cub. The sheep were paralyzed with fear at the attack, but when the lioness departed, the panic was over. They recovered from their stupor and noticed the loss of the lamb. As the flock bleated out lamentations in sheep language, they noticed, to their great astonishment, the helpless baby lion mewling in their midst. One of the Eves took pity on the cub and adopted it as her own. Several years passed. The orphan lion, now a mature beast with long mane and tail, roamed with the flock, behaving exactly like a sheep. Bleating instead of roaring and eating grass instead of meat, this strictly vegetarian lion had perfected himself in the weakness and meekness of a lamb. It so happened that one day another lion strolled out of the nearby forest, which opened into the green pasture, and to his delight beheld the flock of sheep. Thrilled with joy and whipped by hunger, the strong lion pursued the the flock of sheep, when, to his great amazement, he noticed the husky sheep lion, tail high in the air, also fleeing at top speed ahead of the sheep. The pursuing lion paused for a moment, switching his tail in astonishment and pondering within himself. I can understand sheep flying away from me, but I cannot imagine why a stalwart lion should run too. This runaway lion interests me. Spurred by determination to get to the fleeing lion, he raced hard and pounced upon the escaping beast. The sheep lion fainted with fear. The other lion was more puzzled than ever. Slapping the sheep lion out of his swoon, he rebuked him in a hoarse voice. Wake up! What's the matter? Why do you, a brother lion, fly away from me? The sheep lion closed his eyes and bleated out in sheep language. Please let me go. Don't kill me. I'm just a sheep from yonder flock and that left me. Aha! Now I see why you are bleating, said the captor. He pondered a moment, then seized the mane of the sheep lion with his mighty jaws and dragged him toward a lake at the end of the pasture land. When they reached the shore of the lake, he pushed the deluded creature's head over the water so that it was reflected there, and began to shake him violently, for the sheep lion still had his eyes tightly closed. What's the matter with you? Asked the captor. Open your eyes and see that you are not a sheep. Bleed, bleed, bleed. Please don't kill me. Let me go. I am not a lion, but only a poor meek sheep, wailed the silly beast. The other lion, angry now, gave his captive a terrible shake. Under the impact of it, the sheep lion opened his eyes and was astonished to see in the water a reflection, not of a sheep's head, as he expected, but a lion's head, like that of the one who was shaking him with his paw. Then the big creature said in lion language, Look at my face and your face reflected in the water. They are the same. And this voice of mine does not bleat, it roars. You also were born to roar. The sheep lion, convinced, tried to roar, but at first succeeded only in producing bleat mingled rumbles. But under the slapping paws and exhortation of his new friend, he at last succeeded in roaring effectively. Then both lions leaped across the fields, finally returning to live together in the den of the older lion. The sheep lion regained his birthright as a true king of the jungle. Master goes on to say, the foregoing story fittingly illustrates how most of us, though made in the all-powerful image of the divine lion of the universe, remember only being born and brought up in the sheepfold of mortal weakness. So we bleat with fear at the predators of sickness, lack, sorrow, and death, instead of roaring with immortality and power and preying on mortal delusion and ignorance. The teachings of yoga are the powerful lion that will drag you to the crystal pool of meditation and give you such a hard shaking that you will open the closed eyes of your wisdom and behold yourself as a divine lion, made in the image of the cosmic lion. Those of you who keep trying continuously will forget your mortal bleating of weakness and sickness and death and will roar with the power of almighty immortality. Om, Om, Om. Beautiful story. I think if we read this story once every day or at least once a week, it's the mirror that the Guru shows us to tell us, to remind us who we really are. And so that when in our day-to-day life, we get stuck in the habit-born thoughts of weaknesses, the stories like this, the teachings of the Guru, his presence forces us, he shakes us up actually to wake up and say, open your eyes, open your third eye, open the inner eye, get the inner light and see who you are. Experience it for yourself who you are. You are not a weak, mortal, little human being. Bound by limitations, you are the infinite essence of all that is. You are the light, you are the love, you are the joy, you are the wisdom. Know that by regular practice of yoga and by the Guru given teachings and with the company of truth seekers and truth itself, that is Satsanga, all of us can regain our memory of who we are, the true children of the infinite, the lion children of the cosmic lion God. With that, we come to the study of the Yoga Sutras, and we did some very, very interesting sutras in our last class, and just 1 to 2 minutes, we'll just go through them again. So we are on chapter 3, that's Vibhuti Pad of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, and we started from Sutra 21 last time. And in Sutra 21, Patanjali said that by making samyam on the form of the body, that means by practicing one-pointed concentration, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, that combination on the form of the body, you actually, that what can happen is that and on the light which is surrounding it, one can make his body invisible. And in the next sutra, he's talked the same thing about sound. And he said that everything is vibratory in this creation. So anybody who has the power to block the vibrations of sound moving towards the ear can stop the other person from hearing that source of sound. In Sutra number 23, he talked about the types of karma. He said one which fructifies immediately and one which fructifies later. And he said a yogi who can do samyam, who can be concentrated enough on the karma of his own karma, which has not yet fructified, and on the portents of the divine, means certain signs of the universe, can actually know his exact time of death. That means there is no death, actually means the exact time at which he will leave his current body. In Sutra number 24, he said, by making samyam on friendship, various types of strengths come. And we studied that how if we cultivate the attitude of friendliness, if we perform samyam on friendship, then we develop the power to give happiness to all, that is to make others happy. If we perform samyam or concentration upon the virtue of kindness and compassion, then we develop the power to take away sorrows of others. And when we perform the samyam of delighting in the virtuous, when we delight in the goodness of others instead of being jealous of them, then we can transcend completely the negative emotion of jealousy. That will become zero in us, and we will become happy all the time. So basically, these are the powers we are looking at. And all Patanjali is saying us to do is that concentrate on friendliness, the virtue of friendship. Such a beautiful relationship, that is friendship, is born. It's not of a genetic order, it is not familial, it is not bound by dharma, it is just bound by the unconditional giving and sharing of love. Therefore, friendship is one of the most beautiful relationships that any human being can have on this planet. So let us cultivate that friendship. Let us expand from our heart and be friendly towards all. Sutra number 25, Patanjali said that by samyam on the strength of the elephant, that strength can come to the yogi. Sutra 26, by performing samyam on that effulgent light comes the knowledge of the fine, the obstructed, and the remote. And in the explanation, we read how that even if some incident is happening at a distance, the yogi who can actually meditate on his inner light can know what is happening at a remote distance, much far away, or even what is very, very subtle and fine, that can also be known by the yogi. And we remember the example of Sanjay in the Mahabharata, who had the inner vision and could see the entire battle of Kurukshetra by tuning into his inner light. And then he was able to dictate the whole Mahabharata, the whole battle of Kurukshetra, to Dhritarashtra. Okay, so this is what we did last time. And now coming to the sutras for today. Sutra number 27. This Patanjali says, Bhuvan Jnanam Surya Samyamat. Bhuvan is the solar system. Jnanam is knowledge. Surya means on the sun. And Samyamat means performing samya. So, samyam. So, by performing samyam on the sun comes the knowledge of the world, of the solar system. So, Swami Kriyananda ji says, the knowledge of the entire solar system is acquired by samyam on the sun. By going to the center of anything, it is possible to understand all of its ramifications. Truth itself, as we say, truth is God, and God is center everywhere, circumference nowhere. So if we want to know, to have knowledge about anything, it is said that one must go to the heart of that thing. The sun is the center of the solar system. Therefore, it stands to reason that you can understand its planets by doing samyam on the sun. Paramahansa Yogananda ji said the following in his words, says, sun represents the father aspect of God. In my youth, that means Yogananda ji's youth, I spent time at every sunrise and sundown gazing into the sun. That is, when the sun is near the horizon, its harmful rays are filtered out. And he would meditate on it for morning half an hour, evening half an hour. And he said, this practice gave me deep revelations of wisdom. I have also read another story of Ramana Maharishi, who would actually also meditate either in just, he was always bare chested. I mean, he only wore a loin cloth. And he also meditated on the sun many a times. Okay, so the essence of it is that if you want to know the entire solar system, you go to the center of it, which is the sun. Similarly, if you want to know the nature of any metal, let's say, so you have to actually meditate and concentrate on the atom, which constitutes the metal. If you want to know about a leaf, then you have to meditate so closely on the cellular structure of the leaf and the atoms that make up the leaf and the light that creates the leaf, the soil, the water, and all of that elements. If you concentrate upon it in that way, you will know truly that a leaf is how living it is, and that how the circulation in it flows and everything of it. There have been so many yogis who have been able to communicate with trees. And I am remembering one such story. So just a little diversion from to the flow. Says there was this a tribal person, and in that tribal person, once a Swami visited the tribe, and he was respected there also. So they were crossing a forest, and one of the tribal person accompanied the Swami through the forest. In the middle of in earlier times, they would only walk, and there were no vehicles. So as they were walking, the Swami fell down, he got hurt, and there was a big gash in his lower leg, and the gash was bleeding, and there were chances that it would get infected, and there were still many days of travel to go before they would reach another village. So the tribal who was a local in that area, he said, I will help you. And then what he did was, he with his hands upraised like this, like we do the 3 ohms, with his hands like this, he took 7 rounds of a local area, of a small area. He just walked 7 times, and then after his 7 rounds, he stopped and he moved towards a tree. He picked up few leaves from that tree, he crushed those leaves, and he applied that ointment to the gash in the Swami's leg. And very quickly, very quickly, that the wound was healed entirely. And then the Swami, as he was watching, and of course he was also a divine soul, so he asked the tribal person as to what you did and how did you know that which leaves you have to use. And then the tribal person explained to him that, as I walked 7 times around the trees, I asked each tree that who was willing to give some of its prana to help heal this person. And this particular tree said that he or it was willing to sacrifice some of its prana, and therefore I borrowed leaves from it and I used that prana to heal this wound. So if you, in Indian tradition, when we even remove leaves from the tulsi plant, we bow to it. The attitude of today is so much of greed कि हमें चाहिए फल तोड़ लो, हमें चाहिए पत्ते तोड़ लो, उसको काट लो, उसको बना लो, without showing any due respect or gratitude for the energy that the universe is giving us through those things. And those things are also living. The plants are very much living. Therefore, it is so much important that the farmer is also spiritual, because otherwise the prana of the earth starts to reduce. And if the farmer does not nurture the crops with love, then again, if it's only for commercial purposes, no wonder people around the world are having allergies to so many food items these days, which was never existent earlier. And in fact, there was I met a person in Varanasi in one of the Ananda pilgrimages. He was a pranic healer of the earth. So farmers would actually invite him to bless their lands, and he would do the pranic study of the land, and would do cleansing for the land and would enhance. So, and Swamiji said this, he said the nutrition that the plants are giving to us now is reduced much. Why? Because out of our greed, we have no concern or care of that the plant is really living, it has life, it is also a God's child in its own sense, but we're just grabbing and not even thanking in return. We are not returning any energy. We are completely mindless of what we are doing. We just want to eat our food and finish, get energy, and we don't want to bother from where it is coming. And therefore, praying over food is important. Therefore, pausing before eating your food is important. Therefore, thanking God for everything is so important. All the plants are living. And I remember when we went to an Ananda pilgrimage to USA for to visit Master's shrines. We were taken to a forest which is called the Muir Forest, and which has the oldest redwood trees in the world, thousands of years of those trees. And actually, you could, in that forest, you can feel the trees. And there was one particular tree that I touched, and we hugged. We were hugging different trees, and we were just feeling them. We knew that they are living. And suddenly the emotions, my own emotions, suddenly the tears welled up. And we do not know why this happens, but it is the energy of the tree and of us. It's a combined energy. It's an exchange of energy. And all of this is very true. In fact, I've read a story in which the wise people of a locality say that if you have a question that you find no answer to, then go to the oldest tree in the area. Sit under that tree and meditate. Because the tree is very wise. It has all the answers. It will help you to get your answers. And very interesting on this same line of thought is again a story from the Ananda meditation retreat, means the original place where Swamiji started his meditation retreat in California. Of course, because that land was small, they eventually moved out to now what is Ananda village. But the meditation retreat is still with Ananda, and people go there for seclusion, for meditation. And there was one person who is in charge of gardening of the whole area. And he told us such an interesting story. He said, when we took over this place, and we thought, okay, let us, like all gardeners do, let us manicure this place a little. We should place these plants here. Let's beautify this plant. Let's do this and let's do that. So instead, we started to plant various trees and shrubs and bushes, but they wouldn't grow. They would die. And this happened for many months. So whatever their planning was, none of the new plants would grow. And then he said that we got a feeling that the trees in this area do not want the intrusion of other plants. They do not want. And it is said that the trees communicate under the soil through the roots. And they wouldn't let it. Said then we thought of praying to the trees. Then said we actually searched the grandparent tree in the area, the oldest tree in the area. And he said we started to pray to that tree to allow us to add something or to do little modifications without disturbing the ecosystem. He said we prayed for months. And after that, whatever we planted started to grow. This story simply gives us goosebumps. Actually, on a daily basis, we forget that the plants have life in them. And they have. And life is everywhere, center everywhere, circumference nowhere. God is expressing through different mediums. So just to feel the essence of anything, we need to meditate on its center. So we can actually meditate on the center of the tree. And we also do vrikasana in Ananda Yoga, which is also good to meditate on the center of anything. So this story is just a sideline to say that you need to go to the center of things. And relating to this, coming back to the sutra, is that if you meditate on the sun, then you will gain the knowledge of the entire solar system. Okay, sutra number 28. Chandre Tara Vyuhu Jnanam. So Chandra is the moon, Tara is the stars, Vyu is the constellations or the arrangements. Jnanam is knowledge. So by performing samyam on the moon comes the knowledge of the cluster of stars. And Swamiji says also it gives the knowledge of the star movements. Okay. So now this brings us some extra notes on this. So हम सब ने एक कहानी सुनी है जो कि जिसमें यह माना जाता है, हमारी पुरानी स्टोरीज में बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग बातें लिखी हैं कि जो चंद्र है उनकी जो है 27 वाइव्स हैं, ठीक है, 27 उनकी वाइव्स हैं, लेकिन उनको उसमें से सबसे प्रिय है रोहिणी। और जो 27 वाइव्स हैं और वो जो सारी 27 हैं वो प्रजापति दक्ष की बेटियां हैं, ठीक है। तो पर क्योंकि जो चंद्र है वो रोहिणी के साथ ही रहते हैं, तो जो बाकी डॉटर्स हैं वो कंप्लेन करती हैं दक्ष को कि ये हमारे को ध्यान नहीं देता है। तो इसीलिए जो प्रजापति दक्ष हैं वो मून को श्राप देते हैं कि अब तुम कभी भी उतने सुंदर नहीं रहोगे, तुम काले हो जाओगे, तुम्हारे पर धब्बे पड़ेंगे एंड सो ऑन। सो जो चंद्रदेव हैं वो बहुत परेशान हो जाते हैं और वो शिव जी के पास जाते हैं और शिव जी को वो प्रे करते हैं कि वो अब तपस्या करते हैं शिव पे। और शिव तो भोलेनाथ हैं, तो वो सबकी तपस्या का फल देते हैं। और वो शिव जी कहते हैं कि तुम डिफरेंट डेज पे तुम्हारा जो वो है लाइट तुम्हारी चेंज होती रहेगी, तो वो इसीलिए वैक्सिंग एंड वेनिंग मून बन जाता है। सो ये है हमारी पौराणिक गाथा। अब इस पौराणिक गाथा, ये इसका ओरिजिन कहाँ से हुआ? अब कोई ऑफ हैंड इस गाथा को सुनेगा कि ओहो मून की 27 वाइव्स हैं और ये सब व्हाट इज दिस नॉनसेंस, ऐसा कहा जा सकता है। लेकिन ये स्टोरी के पीछे की जो साइंस है वो that I'm just going to say it in short and I'll tell you a YouTube story where you can actually learn what it is. So Atharva Ved mentions 27 star groups which are corresponding to the nakshatras. All the wives of Chandrama represent one of the 27 nakshatras or constellations near the moon. So now we know that the moon rotates and it revolves around the earth, and both the earth and the moon complex are revolving around the sun. So ये जितनी भी moon की movements हैं वो around the orbit जब वो घूमता है तो वो 27 constellations को cross करता है moon, जो कि उसकी स्टोरी के हिसाब से जो कि उसकी वाइव्स है. The relationship of the moon to the stars really has to do with the periodicity with which the moon travels over time and through space past the field of the specific nakshatras. Hence, the stars are more like the numbers of a clock. तो एक क्लॉक इमेजिन करिए, उसके 1 2 3 4 जो है वो इमेजिन करिए कि वो 27 है और वो कॉन्स्टलेशंस हैं, और जो वो सुइयां हैं उस घड़ी की जो नीडल्स हैं वो मून है. तो मून जैसे जैसे रोटेट और रिवॉल्व करता है वो एक एक करके उन सभी नक्षत्रों को क्रॉस करता है. ठीक है. तो इसीलिए और ये रोहिणी उसकी फेवरेट वाइफ क्यों है, उसके पीछे एक एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल रीजन है कि वो वाली जो कॉन्स्टलेशन है उसके पास वो सबसे ज्यादा टाइम स्पेंड करता है. तो अब ये जो नॉलेज है, ये यूट्यूब पे एक चैनल है जिसमें इफ यू टाइप द 27 वाइव्स ऑफ मून, इसके ऊपर एक छोटा सा वीडियो है स्टोरी टेलिंग का 7-8 मिनट का, वो सुनेंगे तो यू विल रियली फाइंड इट वेरी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. बट such an astronomical depth was already present and written in the Hindu Shastras, and then it was converted into this Puranic story. Now, if you remember this story, you will remember the astronomy. So the rishis simplified such deep astronomical truths into stories so that these stories, which have been carried on from generation to generation from thousands and thousands of years, are still continuing. And आप जब भी आप आगे याद करेंगे आपको ये याद रहेगा कि चंद्रमा की 27 जो वाइव्स हैं वो नक्षत्र हैं, वो उनको क्रॉस करता हुआ घूमता है. और फिर और डिटेल में जाना है तो एस्ट्रोनॉमिकली उसके एंगल्स, उनके उसके मिनट्स, उसके डिग्रीज सब कुछ मेंशन्ड है हमारी पुरानी एस्ट्रोनॉमी की बुक्स में, एंड विच इज आल्सो बीइंग कोरॉबरेटेड विद द एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल साइंस ऑफ द डे. So amazing. So what is Patanjali saying in this sutra is that if you meditate deeply on the moon, you will know the movement, the location of the stars and possibly their movement. Movement के लिए आगे एक और सूत्र है जो कि next है सूत्र नंबर 29. ध्रुवे तद गति ज्ञानम. So ध्रुवे is the pole star, ध्रुव तारा. तो जब हम उस पे संयम करते हैं, tat is that, gati is movement, jnanam is knowledge. By performing samyam on the pole star comes the knowledge of the motions of the stars. Samyam on the pole star gives knowledge of the movements. That's what Swamiji also says. So again, अब हम ये astronomical truth है ये कि ये ध्रुव तारा जो है वो हमेशा दिखता है, वो इसीलिए जो अर्थ की एक्सिस जो है वो वर्टिकल नहीं है, स्लाइट टिल्ट पे है. ये हमें सबने स्कूल में पढ़ा है कि अर्थ की स्लाइटली टिल्टेड एक्सिस है. अब इस एक्सिस को अगर आप इन स्पेस आप उसको प्रोलॉन्ग करोगे तो वो नियरेस्ट फॉल करती है ध्रुव तारे को, यानी कि पोल स्टार को. और जब क्योंकि ध्रुव तारा अर्थ की एक्सिस में फॉल करता है तो इवन व्हेन अर्थ रोटेट रिवॉल्व करती है उसकी रिलेशनशिप विद ध्रुव तारा इतना चेंज नहीं होता है, वो रिलेटिवली फिक्स्ड अपीयर होता है. इसीलिए उसको गाइडेंस के लिए भी लोग यूज करते हैं, और वो सिंपल रीजन ये है कि उसकी लोकेशन अर्थ की एक्सिस के अलोंग है. और जब आप ध्रुव तारे पे फोकस करेंगे और इतना मेडिटेट करेंगे तो पर बाकी स्टार्स तो रिलेटिव मूवमेंट में है ही है, तो आपको सभी स्टार्स की जो मूवमेंट्स है, सभी कॉन्स्टलेशंस की जो मूवमेंट्स है, उसका ज्ञान प्राप्त हो जाएगा. सो Dhruv Tara or Polaris or the North Star appears stationary in the sky because it is positioned close to the line of Earth's axis projected into space. As such, it is the only bright star whose position relative to a rotating Earth does not change. All other stars appear to move opposite to the Earth's rotation beneath them. Therefore, concentrating on the pole star can give us knowledge of the relative movement of all the stars. Interesting. Every sutra is, it just lights something in you. It says, and with every sutra, say, wow, oh my God, I never thought it that way. So amazing. Sutra number 30. Nabhi chakre kaya vyuha jnanam. Nabhi is the navel, chakra is the center, that is the Manipur, kaya is body, view is again arrangement, jnanam is knowledge. By performing samyam on the navel center comes the knowledge of the constitution of the body. Swami Kriyananda says, samyam on the navel plexus gives knowledge of the body's constitution. Okay. So मणिपुर चक्र की यहाँ बात हो रही है और मणिपुर चक्र पे माना जाता है कि जो सारी नाड़ीज हैं हमारी बॉडी की, most of them crisscross at the मणिपुर चक्र. So if you are concentrating at a point from where all the nadis are crossing, then automatically if you are at the center of it, you will gain knowledge of all the nadis that are crossing it. And mostly all the nadis of the body are crossing it. And therefore, by concentrating and meditating on the Manipur chakra, one can attain knowledge of the entire constitution of the body, and that through the astral knowledge, one can know what elements, how they have combined, and where they are mostly placed, like which chakra has which is associated with which element, which nadi has current flowing upward, which has downward, which is outward, which is inward. All of that knowledge can come by concentrating and meditating on the Manipur chakra. In some traditions of meditation, some schools of thought, they start by meditating on the Manipur chakra. But our Guru has told us the highest to go straight away for the third eye, the spiritual eye, which is one of the amazing things of our path. Okay, Sutra number 31. कंठ कूपे क्षुप्त पपासा निवृत्ति. ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग सूत्र है. कंठ कूपे इज, कंठ का कूप क्या है? इज द वेल इनसाइड, द हॉलो एरिया इनसाइड द थ्रोट. कंठ ये हुआ गला हुआ और कूप हुआ एक वेल. सो द एम्प्टी स्पेस विच इज इनसाइड द थ्रोट. क्षुप्त होता है हंगर और पिपासा है थर्स्ट. Nivriti matlab removal. So, by performing samyam on the hollow of the throat comes cessation of hunger and thirst. When a man is very hungry, if he can make samyam on the pit of the throat, hunger ceases. Swamiji Kriyananda also says, samyam on the pit of the throat brings a cessation of hunger and thirst. क्या हमने ऐसा कभी सोचा है? क्या हमने ऐसा कभी इमेजिन किया है? नहीं किया. But yogis have practiced this. There are so many yogis in India living in forests and in caves who have no need to eat or drink. We have examples of Giri Bala from the autobiography of a yogi, and it is, according to the story, she was told by some Maharaj, some Rishi gave her the Diksha in some yogic technique, in which after which she never felt thirsty or she never felt hungry. One of the mudras, of course, we know Khechri mudra is also one such mudra where you can experience the highest current, and it can short circuit your path to self-realization and make it very short. But even then, that is another mudra, and this is another technique that is being given by Patanjali. But it has to be, all these things you should not try on your own. The Guru knows what to give us and when to give us. So if the Guru had thought that it was necessary for us to go without hunger and thirst, he would have given us the technique. And Similarly, when Yogananda ji asked this question to Giribala, that why did you not share this technique with others, and she said it is not God's will that it be so. So God wants us to feel the hunger, to struggle to quench the hunger, and to quench the hunger. So this is the way of the Lord, and we have to accept it. So we will, after reading all the siddhis and these powers given by Patanjali, we are not going to run here and there to sadhus to get these techniques, because we don't need them. We have the highest. We have Kriya Yoga. We have the grace of the Master. He is going to directly lift us up from this mire. अगर इसमें से कोई सिद्धि हमें प्राप्त हो गई और हम उसकी प्राइड में खो गए, तो पता नहीं कितने जन्म और हमारे वेस्ट हो जाएंगे. तो एक तरह से अच्छा ही है कि हमारे पास ये सिद्धियां नहीं है, हम एक नॉर्मल लाइफ जीते हैं, लेकिन हम हाईएस्ट को पकड़ के रखते हैं. ठीक है. But we should know on this path that all these things exist, and whenever whatever we will need, our Guru will give to us. Sutra number 32. Kurma Nadyam Stharyam. So Kurma Nadyam is by performing samyam on the Kurma Nadi. We'll just discuss it. Stharyam is steadiness. Swami Vivekananda says, by performing samyam on the nerve called Kurma comes fixity or steadiness of the body. Swami Kriyananda also says, samyam on the Kurma Nadi results in motionlessness in meditative posture. अब ये Kurma Nadi है क्या? So according to yogic literature, this is a subtle nerve plexus. It is located about, ये जो throat का depression है, ये गड्ढा सा है, notch है, इसके 1 inch नीचे और half an inch inside. That is the location of the Kurma Nadi. It is a channel which is in the shape of the tortoise, और 3/4 इंच का ये चैनल है. ठीक है. सो उस पे अगर हम मेडिटेट करेंगे तो हमें एब्सोल्यूट स्टेडीनेस और मोशनलेस मिल जाएगा. Okay, so I'll just share my experience with you about this Kurma Nadi. Is many years ago in one of the Kriya ceremonies, I felt the energy in my throat chakra. I felt energy in my heart chakra suddenly expand. Okay, so I felt these 2 chakras, and I felt energy somewhere in between. So at 3 points, I felt energy during that Kriya ceremony. One was the heart chakra, and one was the throat chakra, and one was somewhere in between, which now that I have studied Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, I know it was the Kurma Nadi. So all of this exists. We study only the 7 main chakras, but there are many. There are actually 108 chakras, some say 112 chakras. So we needn't go into that. Whatever we need will be given to us. It may not be necessary for us to feel all the 108 chakras, but they exist. Jitna master हमें experience कराते हैं, we accept it as his will. We learn it from it. And then we go forward, because our aim is to go beyond the spiritual. उसके नीचे जो चक्र हैं उनको थोड़ा बहुत कैसे यूज करना है, बस उतना सीख लीजिए. इवेंचुअली हमारा गोल यहाँ है स्पिरिचुअल. यही काशी है हमारी, यही अयोध्या है. और फिर यहाँ से यहाँ सहस्रारा का चैनल भी अपने आप खुलने वाला है. मास्टर ने कोई अलग से टेक्निक नहीं दिया है. मास्टर ने कहा है जब आप इवॉल्व इनफ हो जाओगे, ये चैनल अपने आप खुल जाएगा और आप लिबरेट हो जाओगे. सो हमारा काम आगे चक्र से ही है. इन बिटवीन अगर कोई ऐसा एक्सपीरियंस आता है, सो वी थैंक गॉड फॉर इट. And then we just say it is his will. Okay, nothing that I have done has led me to this experience. It is purely the grace of the Guru. We should understand that very, very much. Okay. Sutra number 33, and this will be the last sutra for the day. This is Murdha Jyotishi Siddha Darshanam. Murdha is the crown of the head. Jyotishi is on the light. Siddha is adept, and Darshanam is spiritual vision. Swami Vivekananda says, by performing samyam on the light emanating from the top of the head, a vision of the siddhas is obtained. Swami Kriyananda says, samyam on the light at the crown of the head, Sahasrara, brings the vision of masters and spiritual adepts. So focusing here can actually give us visions. But क्या हमारे मास्टर ने कहा है यहाँ फोकस करने के लिए? नहीं. स्वामी जी ने honest, one thing that I really love about Swami Kriyananda is his pure honesty. In the book itself, he has written that I have not yet been able to experience this particular, this particular teaching has not yet proved true in my life. So he has written that. And he says, gives a parallel technique, but sometimes I have tried a technique given by Tibetan monks, and that technique is to visualize the master sitting at the crown of the head. So when you're meditating, you can visualize master sitting next to you or in front of you or in your body, or maybe you can visualize a miniature form of master sitting at the crown of the head and then blessing you and actually pulling up the kundalini for you. So this, he said, has been useful practice in my life. So sometimes maybe you can give it a try, but always ask your heart, does the master want you to do this? Whatever, if you try and test a new technique here and there, which ideally we should not do too much experimenting, but even if you do, always ask the master, should I go for it or should I not go for it? Because we know that if we go tangential to the teachings of our own guru, then of course we are going to miss the point completely, and how many lifetimes we are going to waste, we do not know. And Swamiji says that once he actually, someone told him that, that the kriya given by the lineage of Lahiri Mahasaya, this is slightly different. Why don't you try this? He said, I tried doing that, and immediately I felt there was a veil between me and my guru. So the grace of the guru is that frequency, it's kind of gets stopped. It is the love of the master, and loyalty is the highest path, is the highest law on actually, whether in any relationship, your relationship with your guru or your relationship with God. So do not try this and that. I personally have felt whenever I pick up a book which is not directly from the path, I know it within the first few pages whether master wants me to read it or not. And if after 2-3 pages or 5 pages I feel that master does not want me to read it, I keep it aside and I never pick up that author again. And similarly to certain spiritual talks, they are on YouTube, you have innumerable number of speakers, innumerable of number of self-proclaimed teachers. So whenever, if you try and do that, please ask the guru whether you should do it or not, because, and you will receive guidance. And I have received this even without asking. I get a scolding only somewhere in me. I know this person I am not going to listen, and once I say no, then I don't listen to that person again. I only come back to the guru's teachings. Do not do many much, because it's like changing trains at the station. आप एक ट्रेन में घुसे, वो उधर लेफ्ट जा रही थी, आपको लगा नहीं नहीं दूसरी ट्रेन ज्यादा अच्छी लग रही है, मैं उसमें हॉप कर लेता हूँ, फिर तीसरी में कर लेता हूँ, चौथी में, फिर कहीं नहीं पहुंच सकते हम ऐसे. सो इसलिए बेस्ट है कि एक हमें एनलाइटेंड मास्टर की ट्रेन मिल गई है, वो स्टेशन पे हमें लेने आए हैं, उनकी ट्रेन में हम बैठ जाएं और फिर बिना भटके हुए और शॉर्टेस्ट रूट अपनाते हुए, क्रिया योग का एयरप्लेन रूट अपनाते हुए हम अपने सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन तक पहुंच जाएं. Okay, so just reiterating this sutra, final sutra for the day is by performing samyam on the light on the crown of the head brings the vision of the masters and spiritual adepts. Okay, with that, we end this another amazing session on the beautiful science presented by Patanjali of our own being. So let us share this knowledge, these blessings with souls everywhere. Let us pray together. Divine Mother, thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all thy children. Manifest thy healing presence in all bodies, all minds, and all souls. Oh. 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 Divine Mother, may thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.